And we can't talk about the Minoans without talking about their palaces. They go through a number of phases with these palaces. In fact, the palace at Knossos is probably rebuilt on multiple occasions. And these palace sites are all over the place with similar features and concepts, but no overall plan for all of them. They all have slightly different plans. Although the plans are generally well conceived, the palaces have large rooms with residential suites, but then they also have courtyards for pageants, ceremonies. They have storerooms, so they may have functioned as a warehouse for trade goods passing through, offices. We see a complex that's basically able to serve as an administrative, commercial, and religious center of Minoan life. Imagine if this is quite literally the city center. The markets and everything else are happening in or at, near, the palace. And that's really what we're seeing. And the building materials are mostly stone, wood, plaster, etc. Now at Knossos, this is of course the legendary home to King Minos and the Minotaur. And this is the largest of the palace structures. Here we see a floor plan of it, and you get a sense of how that would seem like a labyrinth. You could easily get lost in there, especially when you consider how dark some of these hallways would have been, how difficult it would be to get around. It's believed to have been constructed around two long corridors, moving in the cardinal directions, north to south and east to west. And so we have one long corridor that mostly runs right up this way, and then we have crossing a long corridor that may have run at one time across here, but gets blocked off as the palace develops. And these developments, these palaces are developing organically. They also have very complex elevations, meaning that we have areas where it's 1, 2, 3, sometimes 4 stories or more tall. It's 3 stories around the central court. But again, it seems to be developing organically. As the needs change, the building will be changed. We do see enclosed spaces, for example, for staircases. And we have a drainage system, which would be incredibly important at the time because you have these massive flat roofs, so you have to do something with the water that's there. And being an island nation, they're going to capture it and make use of it if at all possible. Now, some are stone drainage, but in other places we have terracotta pipes. So this is one of the earlier examples of using pipes throughout an area, a very large area, almost a town, in this case for the palace, to drain all of this water, or at least make use of it, move it from place to place. We also see the use of Minoan columns. Now, the Minoan column has no base, so there's nothing really under it other than that square footing. And at the top, we have this bulbous, sort of onion-like capital that really defines Minoan columns. The walls are essentially fieldstone, with ashlar masonry used around doors and windows. This is an earthquake zone. And so by using ashlar masonry in these openings, what happens is those individual stones will move a little bit as the whole building shakes. And it allows those areas to stay open. Anytime we start creating massive structures where all of the stone is attached and we put in an earthquake zone, it causes issues, as we will see in other parts of the class. But we do see it around doors, windows, and corners. So it's a remarkable structure full of art, full of frescoes. It would have been brightly painted, plastered, more than likely white being a predominant color, just to open up the space. And it would have been the center of civic life in Crete at the time. These palaces would have acted essentially as administrative centers more than royal residence as we think of in Europe.